Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, and on this platform we have taken the liberty of inviting the Chief Executive Officer of the Agricultural Marketing Authority, Mr. Clever Isaiah. Now, this is a platform that was created in conjunction with the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement, where we are going to be taking a look into the 11 parastatals that fall under it. We are going to be looking at their mandate, their operations, their activities as we head towards achieving Vision 2030 as a country. Mr. Isaiah, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes.
And good evening, Zimbabwe.
Thank you. As I have alluded to earlier, this platform was created in conjunction with the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement. It is where we are going to be taking a closer look into the 11 parastatals that fall under it. We are going to be looking at how these parastatals contribute towards Vision 2030 as a country, given that Zimbabwe is an agro-based economy. We rely on agriculture. Our GDP, almost about 18% is from agriculture. We have well over 70% of our population living off of agriculture. As we get into our discussion, maybe we can start off with the mandate, the constitutional mandate of the Agricultural Marketing Authority.
Okay. Thank you very much. As the Agricultural Marketing Authority, we are established by an Act of Parliament, which is CAP 18 of 24. We started our operations in 2010. Part of our mandate overall involves regulation of the production and marketing of all agricultural produce in Zimbabwe. But it goes beyond that in terms of part of the activities that we do as a regulator of agriculture. I think top of the list is the need to establish markets, promoting fair pricing and orderliness in the agricultural sector in Zimbabwe. And we also provide advisory role to the ministry, our parent ministry, the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement. So we do work closely with other agencies, government departments, other stakeholders, farmer unions, farmers, processors, and exporters in terms of promoting productivity of agriculture in Zimbabwe.
Okay, that is very detailed, where you're saying that you also advocate for the promotion or establishment of new markets, promotion of fairness within the trading areas. Now, as we get deeper, our next point of discussion, I'd like us to look at your operations, an inside look at what you are currently doing as we head towards achieving Vision 2030 as a country. Understand that marketing in agriculture plays a critical role. As much as we might produce, markets are very pivotal in agriculture. Maybe an inside look into your operations and activities.
Okay, thank you very much. I think to start with, I think I need to point out that as Agricultural Marketing Authority, we are undergoing a transformation.
Okay.
Yeah, part of this transformation is to enable us to better serve the agricultural sector. I think in the past, as an authority, we've been labeled as a revenue collector, where we collect revenues, but there haven't been any meaningful value that the authority has provided for the sector. So that is part of what we are trying to address. And coming specifically to our contribution as an authority to Vision 2030, I think I'll say agriculture is one of the major drivers in terms of achieving Vision 2030. How this is going to be achieved, I think it's coming from the recently launched Agriculture and Food Systems Transformation Strategy, which was launched by His Excellency, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa in August 2020.
Okay. So
the Agriculture and Food Systems Transformation Strategy is underpinned by a number of policies. I think one of them is the Horticulture Recovery and Growth Plan. The other one is the Livestock Growth Plan, the Accelerated Irrigation Rehabilitation Program. These are some of the programs which are underpinning the Agricultural Food Systems Transformation Strategy. So if you look at the overall strategy, part of the key elements in that is how are we going to empower our farmers?
Okay.
How are we going to create employment through agriculture? Issues to do with import substitution, improvement of livelihoods at household level. So these are some of the areas which the strategy is going to address, and part of the programs are already under implementation. But at the center of all these programs, AMA plays a pivotal role in terms of availing of information, marketing establishment, setting up of marketing infrastructure, so that our farmers can realize full value of their efforts through agriculture.
Okay, now as we head towards achieving Vision 2030 as a country, I understand that we are taking a wholesome approach where we are saying we are not going to be leaving anyone behind. Sure. And I like that you alluded to the fact that you are also looking at improving our livelihoods. Sure. Now, speaking of that, how is the Agricultural Marketing Authority, are you creating an enabling environment for our private players? I understand that there are various stakeholders in the agricultural industry. Some would want to come in with investment, some would want to come in with technological advancements, some are even looking for employment. How are you creating an enabling environment so that there is a balance? We have the private sector chipping in, coming in with their technology, their capital, and you as a government institution creating, an enabling environment for such players?
Thank you very much. I think to start with, the government's approach in terms of the role of private sector is very clear. I think the president is on record to say private sector is encouraged to participate in the revival of our economy, and specifically agriculture. So in terms of the participation of the private sector players, if you look at agriculture, I think it focuses on quite a number of value chains. And within these value chains, there are opportunities for private sector players. One can choose to go into financing, into logistics, into setting up of infrastructure, into mechanization. Those are some of the areas which are readily available and ready for investment. But in terms of the policy, I think one of the issues that has been coming out is the issue of policy inconsistency, yes, which has sort of been discouraging participation of private sector players. So what we are doing as an authority is we are engaging players through the platforms that we've set up, where we are getting information on their pain points, what they would want to see addressed for our agriculture to scale the heights that it should be in terms of development going forward. So we are now working closely with the private sector, where we are getting input in terms of areas which would see more and more coming into Zimbabwe's agriculture.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isaiah. Viewers, we are going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment of your program. Stay tuned. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural Parastatals Watch, Agribusiness. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with me, the producer, Wadzanai Manyore, on 0772-807-506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. You can also make a follow-up on this episode and more, and leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We are also now available on Twitter, and our Twitter handle there is at Agribusiness110. Now, Mr. Isaiah, we are in the second segment of our program. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Earlier on, before we went to the break, you were talking about how AMA is addressing issues in our economy that are eventually going to help the private players to come out and participate in the agricultural industry right here in Zimbabwe. Now, moving away from that a bit, I would like us to talk and focus more on your interaction with the farming community. I understand that our farmers are private sector. They play a critical role. We cannot talk of marketing if we do not have sustainable production systems. Now, your interaction, your relationship with our farming community in Zimbabwe as the Agricultural Marketing Authority.
Okay, thank you very much. In terms of AMA's relationship with farmers, I think it's very central to our operations.
Okay.
When you talk of the farming community, as AMA, part of our interest is making sure that the marginalized farmers, those that are in the rural areas, number one, they've got information, they've got access to markets, they've got fair prices for their farming produce. They've got contractors who are coming in to support them in their production activities. And more importantly, we also organize financing for these marginalized farmers. So time and again, we do call upon all the farmers to be registered with AMA. The reason why we would want farmers to be registered is so that they can easily access the services that I've listed. So that's one of the benefits that farmers do get by being registered with AMA. In addition, when it comes to exploring opportunities in the export market, we also work closely with farmer clusters.
Okay.
So farmers that are in these clusters are the farmers that are on the AMA database. So that is another advantage of being registered with the Agricultural Marketing Authority.
Okay, that was very detailed, and I understand that our audience there at home are taking notes and are understanding what AMA does and how it contributes to the farming community. And I understand that you also offer even protection from, unscrupulous rent seekers. Sometimes maybe when it comes to the selling of maize or when it comes to grain, the grain season, grain marketing season.
Correct.
Moving away from that a bit, I understand that there is the Cotton Presidential Input Scheme, where most of our farmers are excited. Most of our farmers who had maybe shunned away from producing cotton have come back in the game. What is your participation? What is your engagement with the farming community? I understand that you are usually at the buying points or the cotton distribution centers. What is your participation there? What do you represent there?
Okay, thank you. I think when it comes to the cotton sector, as a regulator, we participate in the whole value chain.
Okay.
Okay, so to start with, in terms of pre-production planning, we also work with cotton merchants who are all registered with AMA. The reason why we register these merchants is to ensure that farmers get the right quantities of inputs, which have been designed to produce or at targeted hectarage. So that's how we work in terms of input distribution. When it also comes to marketing, it is our role to ensure that farmers are paid on time. They are distributing their cotton to the intended distribution points. So we've got field officers in all cotton producing regions who are stationed there in order to ensure that farmers' interests are fully catered for. But I think one of the major issues that we've been battling with regards to cotton is the issue of side marketing.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's another sore point in cotton that we are now working on addressing. How we're going to address that is we are revisiting our statutory instrument, which looks at the administration of the cotton sector. We are also working with the cotton merchants, the cotton farmers, farmer unions, in now making sure that we've got a cotton production and marketing model that is foolproof.
Okay.
I think the advantage that we have is that within the parastatals under the ministry, we've got a tobacco industry marketing board. they've done fairly well in terms of coming up with a contract model. So there are certain aspects that will also draw from the successes that have been seen in tobacco and perfect the cotton production and marketing model.
Thank you so much, Say. As we move right along, our economy is presented with various issues that need to be addressed, and that most of our Zimbabwean citizens believe that this can be addressed through agriculture. We are an agro-based economy. We rely heavily on agriculture for, the supplements or, even our livelihoods as Zimbabweans. Unemployment, there are issues that are presented in our economy, such as unemployment, trade imbalance. We are looking at, export growth. How do we grow that sector? How are you going to contribute as the Agricultural Marketing Authority? These are some of the pertinent issues that we need to address as we forge our way towards achieving Vision 2030 of becoming an upper middle class economy. So we need to address this. And your contribution as the Agricultural Marketing Authority, what is that?
Okay, thank you very much. I think for the issues that you've mentioned, I think at the center of achieving Vision 2030 is the agricultural food systems and transformation strategy.
Okay.
So it looks at issues of import substitution, employment creation, export growth, value addition, and beneficiation.
Okay.
Yes. So as AMA, our role in that strategy, first and foremost, is to ensure that we are an effective partner for market development.
Okay.
So like I highlighted earlier on, that our role has been enhanced from just a regulator, but to become a development partner for agriculture, especially where markets are concerned. You mentioned, I think I'll just pick one example which you mentioned in terms of export growth.
Yes.
When you talk of export growth, there's a lot that happens behind the scenes for our farmers to come to a stage where they become export ready.
Very true.
So one of the roles that we play as AMA is to ensure that farmers have got full information in terms of destination markets. If they are targeting at exporting into the region, what are the requirements? If they are targeting international markets, what are the requirements? So issues to do with certification, making sure that they are producing the right quality, the right quantity, meeting the requirements of the buyers. That's one of the roles that we play. Okay. So we directly feed into the agriculture, food systems and transformation strategy. And again, going towards 2030, I think we launched the National Development Strategy 1, which is running from 2021 to 2024. NDS2 is running from 2025 to 2030.
Okay.
So what is common in these two strategies is the fact that agriculture is going to play a pivotal role in terms of achieving these objectives. And part of that is the exports that you've talked about.
Thank you very much, Say. Now, viewers, we're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment of your program. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. We are in the third and final segment of your program, Agricultural Parastatals Watch, Agribusiness. And today I'm joined by Mr. Clever Isaiah, the Chief Executive Officer of the Agricultural Marketing Authority right here in Zimbabwe. Mr. Isaiah, we are in the third and final segment of our program. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes. Earlier on, we were talking about the cotton inputs presidential scheme. I understand that there have been heavy capital injections into the production of cotton at the moment. Can you maybe further explain in terms of your participation when it comes to the cotton industry in Zimbabwe?
Okay. I think what's important to note when it comes to cotton is the fact that it benefits over 400,000 farmers countrywide. So it's very strategic in terms of its contribution to the agricultural development of Zimbabwe. In terms of our role as a regulator, I think first and foremost is to ensure that there is orderliness in the cotton sector. Orderliness in the form of how inputs are distributed. Are we distributing enough inputs to enable the farmer to produce the targeted yields of cotton lint? So in this space, there are quite a number of players that we work with. There are cotton contractors. I think for this season, there are about 6 registered cotton contractors. So our role is to ensure that the inputs are distributed on time, and they've also distributed adequate inputs to the farmers. So that's on the production side. But over and above that, as AMA, we also provide funds for cotton research and training so that we can continuously improve on the production quality of the cotton coming out of Zimbabwe. So that's also what we do over and above the regulation.
Yes, that was very detailed. I would also want us to talk about the investment opportunities that are available.
Okay.
I understand that as we are discussing on this platform, there are some members of our audience that might say, I would want to get into so-and-so, the business of so-and-so. There might be an investment opportunity that is also going to benefit our country and even our economy and our farming community. What are those that might be present at the moment in the Agricultural Marketing Authority?
Okay, I think with specifically in the cotton sector, what we've seen is contractors coming in focusing on just production of cotton. But what we encourage potential investors is the greater opportunity is in the value addition and beneficiation of products that are derived from cotton. So when you talk of the cotton to cloth value chain, there's a lot that can be done in there. So instead of just focusing on production and export of the raw material of cotton, the country can realize more value is there if there is value addition within the cotton sector. So those are some of the areas which are readily available, and any interested or potential investors who may want to explore further, as the Agricultural Marketing Authority, we are available to provide that information.
Okay, thank you so much. I understand that most of the investors also look at investment opportunities, their return on investment. Those are the things that they'll be looking at before engaging themselves in an investment. Now, as we round off our segment, in the wake of this COVID-19, I understand that even as we are discussing right now, we are social distancing, regardless of the fact that I don't have a mask. We are well social distanced. We have our buying points or cotton selling points, cotton distribution, input distribution points. How are you ensuring a smooth running of operations? They understand that our farmers will be coming in with their cotton. Some farmers will be coming in to collect inputs. What are the measures that are present to ensure that our farming community and even your personnel is safe and even the communities are safe at large?
Okay, thank you very much. I think when it comes to how we are addressing the challenges that have been brought about by COVID, as a regulator, we are doing quite a lot. I think first and foremost, we are adhering to the preventative measures as spelled out in the World Health Organization guidelines, where all the stakeholders are compelled to mask up, social distance, and sanitize.
Yes.
So the provisions for that have been set out at all cotton touch points. But going further, I think the buying of cotton has also been decentralized nationwide, so that we limit the numbers of physical contact.
Okay.
Yes. But as an authority, I think we've also gone a step further now to set up online platforms, especially for things like your permit applications, your registration forms so that they are accessed through our online platforms. So these are some of the activities that we are doing in the interim to also try and mitigate on the challenges brought about by the pandemic.
Thank you so much. Ensuring the safety of our farming community and minimizing physical contact. Yes. Now, as we've come to the end of our program, your word of advice to our farming community, to the various stakeholders, your recommendations, and even for the audience out there who's watching, you know, saying maybe they would want to get into horticultural production, they would also want to get into cotton production, your word of advice and your recommendations.
Thank you very much. I would say in Zimbabwe right now, agriculture is one of the most attractive and lucrative investment destinations. But I would also want to encourage the youth to consider farming as a viable career alternative, because farming is now a business. So I think to the farming community, let's continue to focus on production, productivity, and profitability. Farming is a business.
Thank you so much. Production, productivity, and profitability. It was a pleasure having you with us, Mr. Isaiah, on this platform today.
Thank you very much for your time. Good evening, viewers.
Yes, there you had it, viewers. I was with the Chief Executive Officer of the Agricultural Marketing Authority, Mr. Clever Isaiah, and he was just taking us through a look into the mandate of the Agricultural Marketing Authority, its operations, its activities, and even in line in the outbreak of the COVID-19. From me, your host, Wadzanai Manyore, and the crew behind the scenes, have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.